You're this perp back with another video, and I just got done watching From Season 1, Episode 5. I'm so hooked on the show. I just wish I could binge watch the rest of the season. We are halfway through the first season, and this was a very much different episode compared to the last two, but we're going to get into it. So, this starts off where the last one left off, where, Sarah is being checked on by Christy because she has a seizure. You know what I'm saying? And even the sheriff, or Boyd, makes mention that, the boy also had a seizure the same way. So there must be something with that. And the brother, Nathan, is very worried because he knows what she did, and she just wants to make sure she's okay and it doesn't happen again. Meanwhile, though, you have Jim coming up with this kind of idea to write things on the walls, to ask questions, to kind of just figure out what's going on and how they could possibly get out of this. It's very interesting because there's another character that we'll get into that, is also trying to look for the truth. So while Nathan's kind of worried about her sister, Sarah is staying overnight at the hospital with Christy, and we got a lot more information on Christy and just, who she is as a person. And, I like that Sarah kind of mentions, like, yo, you and Kenny would be a perfect fit for each other. And she responds like, nah, we're just friends, which is kind of fucked up. You pretty much friend zone Kenny. I feel like that's going to change. She says she has a girlfriend out there somewhere. But the interesting thing here is the conversation that they have, it kind of gets really dark. So Sarah asks, like, if you did something bad that you would get rewarded for, I'm paraphrasing, like saying if you do something bad and something good would come out of it, would you do it? And Christy kind of shrugs it off and just thinks nothing of it, but it's pretty much giving you a clue that, she's the one that opened up the door and got everybody killed that one night. So, going back quickly to Jim and his wall of questions, he also asked Tabitha, do you have anything that you want to kind of ask? And she kind of keeps it to herself, but we'll get into that because that's very interesting. It's very interesting what she was thinking about. But now it's the next day or the next morning, and, Sarah leaves, like, the little hospital area and gets approached by Nathan, and Nathan's just like, are you okay? Are you sure? And just, like, overly checks up on her and whatnot, and Sarah pretty much is like, I'm good, I'm fine, I gotta get back to town. Then we get this scene of Fatima and Julie, and Julie's making this list of people that might miss her or something like that. And I feel like there's some type of parallels between Fatima and Julie, and that's why Fatima is becoming so close with Julie. I don't know. I still think it's kind of weird, the whole, Colony House. I think that place is really fucking weird. They got a bunch of wackos over there, so there might be some more to it. I don't know. My thing is, I think that Fatima just sees a lot of herself in Julie, and that's why they can kind of bond like that. Going over to Sheriff Boyd, he pretty much is kind of zoning out and tells Kenny, yo, hold down the fort. I need to go visit my wife because Father Crabtree mentioned that in the previous episode, and that's really interesting. Shifting things over though to Jade, because he, I think, is definitely the wild card here, and I feel like his path and Jim's path are going to cross paths. I don't know why I just did that, but because he's determined to figure out what's really going on in this town. He has this conversation with the bartender about this like cat theory where the cat's in the box and it's just kind of stuck there, and it's kind of symbolism for them. So we'll see where this goes with Jade, because like it seems like he's really determined to figure out what's going on and how we can get away from this place. Going back to Tabitha and Ethan said something interesting about just this whole place that they're at, that maybe this place does something good to us. I don't know about that, buddy. You might have to reconsider after what I've seen in this episode. So Sarah pops up, hangs out with Ethan for a little bit. But going back to Fatima and Julie and them kind of being at this, like, I guess you could call it a quarry or something like that, or a lake. This is where we get Fatima's backstory. And I really like how descriptive people's backstory are in this show, and I think it makes it very satisfying, and just, it's so detailed. But I still think Donna's story is the most graphic, because that shit sticks in my head, like how detailed and how thorough her whole story is. And Fatima's telling Julie about the story of her father and stuff. It's very tragic. It's really sad. And you got to kind of wonder, like, how is she able to kind of keep all of this in? So as Boyd is out away from the town, it's interesting that, you know, his wife is buried, not with the other people, but somewhere completely distant from everybody, and trying to, like, look for a sign. While this is going on, you know, Sarah takes Ethan to the barn, and also Tabitha goes with Sarah and Ethan while Jim stays back, and he's kind of somewhat, it seems like, kind of unhinged, like he's really focused, or he has real tunnel vision when it comes to this wall, and he's just asking every single question. Then we have a scene of Nathan confronting Father Crabtree about, you know, his sister, and pretty much wanting to make a confession. And this was a amazing scene right here, like the back and forth, because at the barn you have Sarah talking to Tabitha about, like, there's all these different hiding spots and stuff like that. There's even one in this barn, and she's able to pretty much trap Tabitha in there while she goes out to try to attempt to kill Ethan, which was, man, Sarah is a really dope character. She gives me Carrie vibes, if you know what I'm saying. So before we continue with that scene, you know, you have Boyd asking Father Crabtree, like, how do you, he asks him about this sign, like, because the sheriff is looking for some type of sign. I don't know what that sign is. We'll get into that towards the end of this review. But shifting things back over to what's happening, you know, you have Nathan trying to find his sister, doesn't know exactly what's going on, and this guy at the restaurant or at the diner says, like, she's out there by the barn. And good thing that he got there in just the nick of time, because she was hell-bent on trying to kill Ethan. But in doing so, she ends up slitting Nathan's throat and killing him. And it just causes complete chaos throughout the town. Like, people are just wondering, like, what's going on, and Sarah just takes off into the woods, which I think Father Crabtree probably, you know, just let her go, you know what I'm saying? And this is definitely kind of traumatized or scared Ethan, so he runs into Julie. And what's interesting here is Jim really wants there to be some type of punishment. And they pretty much clearly said, like, yo, if she's here before nightfall, we'll handle it. But if she's not, then it's handled. I like that shit. So this is the first time since, like, I guess episode 3, since the family's kind of been reunited. It's unfortunate. But let's get into what Tabitha was afraid to write on that board. She writes, did we survive the crash? And I was thinking immediately, oh shit, this is some real Lost shit. Where, in Lost, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. If you know how that ended and how people kind of came to the realization of what happened to them. I don't think that's the case with this. I think there's still more to it, but that's a really interesting question to ask. What do you guys think in the comments below? Is this some type of purgatory? But the episode ends off with Boyd talking to Christy, because Christy just blames herself because she didn't really see the signs early when they were talking. And Boyd's like, no, don't do that to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You save lives, and you're going to save more lives. Then the radio turns on. Then Boyd pretty much says, that's my sign. What that is, still don't know, but that's how the episode ends. Overall, I really like this episode. It moves the plot forward. I like these kind of slower episodes that we're getting. Not too much action, because I feel like we are definitely building up to something. I feel like more characters are going to die. Who do you think is next on the chopping block? You think that Tabitha could possibly die? I definitely think it's possible for any of these main characters or multiple main characters to possibly die. Do you see Boyd possibly dying, because he has the whole tremors thing going on, and he mentioned that's something in his family? But let me know how you guys feel about it. Till next time, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.